issues with your animals. So if you'd like to see this, please come on over to anywhere in the grass area. Be sure and watch this. It's going to be great. John, are you ready?
Good morning, everyone. My name is John McGrath from JM Canine Services, and actually I'm working with a dog named Buddy. He's about 1.5 years old from Seminole County Animal Services, and I just met him a little while ago. Let me get away from the speaker there. Okay. What we're talking about is behavior, because a lot of times in my business for the last 17 years now, that's what we deal with, is a lot of behavior problems. We work with obedience also, which a lot of the dogs don't have when we first meet them, but a lot of times like the phone calls for like the aggressive dogs with other dogs, aggressive with kids, aggressive with people, maybe killing cats, chasing horses, you name it, we'll get it. A lot of times the first thing I meet with everybody, they don't have any kind of basic skills with their dog. They're usually pulling on the leash the first thing. They're jumping all over people. They have no respect for them. And we don't train with treats. It's all positive reinforcement, but repetition like anything. And a kid goes to school 5 days a week, they're going to learn. If they go to school 1 day a week, it's going to take them a long time to get out of elementary school. So as far as his Buddy, he's up for adoption. Biggest thing is about most of the dogs that come from rescues, they've probably been shifted around a little bit. Also, a lot of times they don't have a lot of time out here at Animal Services or any of the other rescues to actually have somebody work with them that much. So a lot of times as soon as you get them, like somebody like me, come on buddy, heel. Sometimes they might have had some training already. And if they have, buddy, sit. See, and any good dog trainer can find this out. And if you kind of look for a dog and you're saying, hey, I want to find out if this dog has obedience, sometimes from some of the rescues, they don't know. Come on, buddy. So they might say, well, he was giving up. We have no clue. They were moving or whatever. Buddy, sit. So already, we got eye contact. Buddy listens to me. Anybody want to adopt Buddy right now? He's up for adoption. Pretty good dog. So a lot of times, the biggest problem is, and I was just talking to somebody about a dog running away. They're scared. You got anxiety issues. A lot of times they come from a house, maybe yelled a lot. I always try to tell all my clients, don't yell and scream at your dog. If you're going to tell them something and you're kind of being, as far as a disciplined word, I'd always say the word just one time, no. And you don't have to start sing it so loud. And that's unfortunate a lot of times people do. They say no, and then all of a sudden they say no again because the dog's not listening. So, buddy, come. Hey, buddy, come here. Good boy. Come here, bud. Good boy. And so what I always do is do a verbal praise or a physical praise. And when I train, I like to try to train like a coach talks to a team. Good boy. You want that eye contact. Come here, bud. Buddy, good boy. And just a lot of praise. And he's a little shy. You can see his tail's tucked right now. He's like, who is this guy I just met 5 minutes ago? So the one thing is if you are meeting a dog and you're not sure, and a lot of times the rescues aren't too, to be honest, there's so many dogs up for adoption right now with the economy and everything. So try to check them out. Take them for a walk, Make them do some stuff in the beginning. Don't be scared about, let me see it. Oh, I feel sorry for him. But you want to see if he's going to listen to you first. And like I say, a lot of dogs have had some training, but maybe they were giving up for the wrong reason. I just talked to somebody the other day giving up 5 dogs. He's got to move into an apartment. The last dog she's got is Yorkie. And I'm thinking, wow, Yorkie can fit in an apartment real easy. But, buddy, come on. Yep, good boy. So really, right now, he walks pretty good on the leash. The next problem we get, besides aggression issues and stuff like that, a lot of times it's dogs that are not socialized pretty well. A lot of times when we teach classes also when the dog's like his age and younger, I always want them to get out around other dogs. I want them to get around kids, especially if you don't have kids. It's a lot easier to get a dog 4 or 5 months old around children than it is when they're 2, 3 years old and they're uncomfortable with kids. It's something we get a lot, actually, in my business. I get a lot of problem dogs around children. We take it real slow. As far as with other dogs, the same thing. When I do that kind of training, we'll bring out our own dogs so they're calm, relaxed around the dogs. Then what we'll do is we start getting them out in public so that way they know how to behave. The worst thing I get is from a lot of clients is they avoid contact. They've got a dog that acts up. They get nervous. They will avoid contact. They'll walk across the street. They'll come down their apartment. Just like the other day, a lady had a German Shepherd. Every time she's come down her stairs, there's a lot of people that have dogs in the apartments there. Then she'll go the other way. And so now it triggers that effect down the leash that, hey, there's something wrong with that dog or that kid on the skateboard or whatever the issue is. So what we have to do is just condition them to get used to being around these things. Like, not every dog gets to come to an event like this every day. So when I've got dogs that kind of have that issue, we'll go down to the farmer's market in Winter Park. We'll go to events like this. But I like them to kind of get a little conditioned before a big event like this. We'll go to the downtown Winter Park there, walk around a little bit before the the farmer's market day and kind of get them conditioned to being out in public. Just walking in a PetSmart and then walking back out, to me, 5 minutes or 10 minutes not enough. I like all my dogs to be socialized, whether it's somebody petting my dog that I'm not paying attention to, like a little kid. I have a big Great Dane. I didn't bring him out today just because everybody's going to ask me, is he up for adoption? And so I get tired after 100 times saying, no, he's not up for adoption. So anyway, as far as that, go ahead and try him and see if he walks good on the leash. Come on, buddy. And another thing is, if he's not good with the dog and we walk past this chocolate lab here and he growled or snapped, I'm not going to say, oh, I'm sorry, ma'am, and walk the other way. And that's what, unfortunately, a lot of times people do. So just like another dog corrects each other, I'll say, buddy's not doing anything wrong right now. But if he was to growl, I'd say no. If he doesn't, I'll correct him physically right here by the collar. I don't hit him on the nose. I don't use a treat, because I want him to understand right away, hey, you know what? You're not supposed to do that. And instead of apologizing and walking away, I'll stay around there. And we'll try it again. Whether, like I say, it's another dog next to him or a person goes to try to pet him. A lot of times we have to instruct kids and people how to pet dogs, too. Like, he's pretty good. You can see he's not hand shy. Good boy, buddy. Some of the kids come up way too much. I see this all the time in my business. We do a lot of school events. I've got a daughter at 7 years old. They always want to come up here. And I actually heard some kids earlier saying, can I pet your dogs over by our tent where the people are next to us? That's always good. I love to teach the kids, hey, don't come up and just put your hand over top of the dog. Also ask, because you don't know that dog, for one. Just because your dog's sweet at home doesn't always mean that you've got, every dog in the street's going to be like that. So, as far as like with Buddy, another thing, the biggest problem we get is usually young dogs is jumping up. And usually that, to me, is not really a bad behavior problem. I mean, people make it out worse than it is. Somebody let him get away with it. Okay, he's a little puppy. He's jumping up. Oh, it's so cute. And you're letting them do that when they're young. And then his size are much bigger. And you're like, get down. Well, you kind of encouraged it. So when they're little puppies, we start not jumping up on us. Another thing we do is, I don't like the old knee in the chest routine. Yeah, that'll work. But I tell you what, my grandmother couldn't do that. And I know my 7-year-old can't do that with my Great Dane if he did that. So what I always do is, if I'm walking her up, come on over here. If he was to jump up on her, this is a common behavior we get, this is a regular, typical, average thing. If he tries to jump up on her, which he's not, which is good boy. But if he was, I'd correct him by the leash. Now, whether he's a 5-pound little Yorkie or he's a big 150-pound Great Dane, I'll walk him right back to that same person. Right, okay, great question. Okay, here's a typical thing we get 9 out of 10. Oh, he jumps up on everybody when they come up in my house. So the doorbell rings, somebody comes in the house, and grandma's coming over, your friends for dinner, and their dog jumps. I always say, this is your only training tool, this and the collar. Without it, you're yelling at the dog, you're pulling at him, you're doing all kinds of stuff. You have no reinforcement. So hook them up on the leash. Most dogs I've seen in my business, and most of you guys can testify to that, more dogs live in the home than they do outside the home. So if he's sitting on the couch and here comes grandma coming over to see you for a little bit, and he's going to jump, hold on, grandma, wait at the door. Put on the leash. So this way, as soon as she comes in the door, you have reinforcement. Now, some people say ignore it, but I've had that issue several times. Problem with the ignore it theory is, I've had my shirt ripped from behind, and I don't like having big old claw marks on my back, or some of my trainers also. So I want to be able to correct that problem. And like I say, usually the little breeds will come up and they get away with it because they're cute, they're little, and most of the time people are saying, it's all right, it's okay, but realistically, nobody likes to see that. So they'll, scratch your legs or something. So even little dogs, if he was 5 pounds, I'd still walk him up, no, and then correct and bring him right back. He's not doing it, but she just asked a great question. If you are by yourself or you're coming in the house, if you don't have somebody else in the house double teaming you, we'll say he's bouncing around like crazy. He's in the crate, or maybe he's not in the crate. As soon as you come home, I like personally a collar on the dog. You don't have to have a choker collar or anything like that because he could get hooked on something, but this is great. This is a martingale collar. We work with these all the time. As soon as Buddy sit, and if he sits, great. If he doesn't, Buddy sit. If he doesn't, I'm going to touch him on the butt to hurry up and get him in there. I'd hook him up on the collar as soon as he comes out, whether he's coming out of the room because he sees you and you open the garage door or something, or he's coming out of the crate. As soon as you got this, you got some control, okay? If it's the 8 o'clock, what we like to call witching hour for the puppies, and they like to jump all around and go nuts when you're trying to get the kids to bed or you're trying to watch TV, have the leash. So if he's going nuts and he just wants to wind down for the last half hour or so before he falls asleep, use the leash on him. So problem is, a lot of times people forget it, and they're trying to grab them. I see it at the doors all the time. Every time I go to somebody's house, they're trying to grab the dog at the last minute, or they're apologizing for their actions. So don't apologize, correct them. You're not doing anything wrong. You like a well-behaved dog. Everybody does. It's great when your dog is bragged about on the street, and everybody's saying, wow, your dog's so much better. And so, and good trainers will do that for a dog. So then a lot of times you always have to remember, too, that any good dog trainer is going to work with the owner, not just train the dog and then send him back. And we do that also. We do a 10-day. But I'm really thorough about training the owners after and making sure the dog is listening to them also. Classes are great if you're going to take a dog to a class, but obviously if they're not sociable with other dogs or with people, you can't come to a class. It's too disruptive. It's too much of a liability. A dog's going to hurt another dog or hurt somebody. So we have a lot of times we can't have dogs in the classes, and we have to work with them on the side before they can come into a class. So I'm going to ask you, anybody out there right now, anybody have any different major problems with dogs? I know most of you guys are just probably pretty calm dogs after they walk around here for a mile or two, but anybody have a really bad question? Oh, that's the easiest thing right there. Always, that's what we have on our... Yeah, well, that's an about face turn, but I like him to play follow the leader. A lot of times I meet people, they have the wrong leash for one. They have a retractable leash, big, forget that thing, get rid of it. Well, I wish I had some money in that company years ago, but anyway, if he's pulling me, he's in charge. He's the leader. Dogs think two ways, either lead or follow. So once I tighten up the leash a little bit, and I don't have to choke him, come on, buddy. He's walking with me. I mean, he's not doing anything wrong. Now, buddy's got to take a break. Okay, he's got to go to the bathroom. Go ahead, buddy. Take a break, or go potty, go pee. Now he's kind of loose right there. His tail's down, too, so he's feeling better with me. So if we're not on a little break here anymore, and he's not sniffing the grass and trying to be a dog, or, come on, buddy, let's go. He's coming back. Now, I like to train one side. Come here, buddy. Is the left side just the traditional side? I've got clients who have had a stroke, or they've had a shoulder injury or something, so we'll train them on the right. There's no law or rule that says they have to be on the left. So if he's working okay over here, same thing. Come here, buddy. And he walks pretty good either way, so come on, buddy. So like I say, he's up for adoption today, and if anybody's interested in Buddy, great dog, and good eye contact, good boy, and that's how I like to train. Buddy, look. Buddy, look. Look, good boy. I just praise him. And a lot of times the average person needs to put in time into their dog. I mean, you do that with your kids. You don't sit them down and help them out with their homework. Sometimes you're going to be, they're left to their own defenses. So same thing with a dog. If you don't spend any time with them, training them, it's not the dog's fault when they act up, because you're not really teaching them what you want. And dogs are pretty smart. You just got to give them enough credit. They really are, in some time. So I'm going to wrap up. Anybody have any last-minute questions? We'll be back on at 1 o'clock, but this is a great event today. So you guys see everybody, see all the vendors, and you guys have a great day today. Thanks a lot.